Here are the weather conditions for the lap and the sector times. First, we look at the lap, then we analyze. So as we go into T1, our main goal is to make the track as wide as possible. We can't go all the way out to the wall because the track cambers down and it pulls you away and creates understeer. So we're going to be roughly around that far on the right hand side. We're on the lookout for the 50 board and braking around the 50 board. And our goal to turn in is roughly at the area of the grass. So this is kind of our turn in marker. It's a fairly late turn in. And what we want to achieve here is getting onto this curbing completely. We want to run over that completely. And it's very important to sacrifice the first part so that we can maximize going through this part of the corner as full throttle as possible. As you can see, a little bit of the throttle is sacrificed here, about 5% of throttle. And ideally, we'll finish out the corner right on the very edge of the track there. But the key thing about the Senna S's is sacrifice entry and maximize the exit, because there's a very long straight afterwards, as you can see. And as we go over here to T3, we're on the lookout for the 100 board. Also, we're on the lookout for this access road on the right-hand side, which we're going to use as a braking reference. As you can see, from this point on, the track opens up slightly. All right, so you can use a little bit of that if you place the car correctly. So you want to maximize the track on the right-hand side. And then similar to T1 of the Senna S's, we want to get all the way on top of this corner over here. And if we can't get all the way on top there, then we're going to try to just avoid the top part and just go through here. Because if we don't get fully on top on the left side, we'll get kicked out to the right-hand side with tons of understeer. And we want to avoid that as much as possible. So let's continue here. And on exit, they've adjusted the off track here, so you can use a little bit more of the green, but really it's about halfway. Any more than that, you're going to get an off track. Now onto the very tricky part of the track. Very, very tricky. The middle sector is all about using curbs. All about using curbs. For this fast right-hander, we'll look out for the marshal's post. We're going to brake just before that. And we want to run over completely on this curbing. Completely on that curbing on the right-hand side. And maintain the car fairly narrow so that we can hit this next curb here on the right-hand side. We're modulating the throttle. Just tons of modulation so that the car can end up in this area here. We want to be as wide as possible without getting the off track. And the off track is around here somewhere. So you got to find where that off track is so that you can avoid it in race. And then again, as I said, we're going to be running completely over these curbs. Here, the right-hand side tires are going to be pretty much on this cobblestone over here. If you get a little bit of grass, it's still not an off track. So you just got to play around. Find where that off track is so you can maximize the track. And again, for this next left-hander, completely over the left side of the track on the curbs. Pretty much staying on the curb the whole time. The whole time. Early throttle. Vision should be on the left-hand side over here for the exit so that you know how much when to get on throttle. And as you can see, the throttle never fluctuates. It's very confident, full throttle through that whole sector. Now we open it up a little bit, just a little bit, so that we can try to brake in a straight line to the left-hand side of the track, as close to the white line as possible. And on apex, again, we're maximizing the use of the curbs. And take a look at where this right-hand tire goes through. Right on that right-hand side part of the curbing. Second gear or first gear here, depends what you like most. You're going to use most of the track here. You're not going to get all the way out here. Because if you do, then you're not going to be able to open it up enough to go full throttle through this next sector. So depending on how much of an exit you use, you will have to sacrifice a little bit of the downhill left-hander. In this case, as you can see, I'm about right here for the curb, for the edge of my racing line. Edge of track is what I call it. Open it up as much as I can so that we can go full throttle through here. And you can see just a slight bit there of release of throttle right in that area over here. Ever so slightly release because the car is very rear limited here. The boundaries have changed for the track. Before you could be over here on the right hand side. You can't do that anymore. It is roughly over here that the off track starts. So it's very easy to get that off track. So make sure you're cognizant of that. And you want a really, really good exit for this next corner. There's no great braking point. I use roughly the end of this curb, which you can see that curb there. I brake after that curb, roughly around this area over here. Fairly hard braking zone. Two ways of doing this. You can either cut this completely like I am, or you can go around it on the left-hand side. That's up to you. Find the line that works for you. And we're going to be running out as fairly wide. Not completely all the way out here, because then, as you can see, this cambers also, kind of like the entry to T1. And we don't want to get pulled out wide here because we got to get back to the left-hand side of the track. So roughly, right-hand side tires here is probably the maximum, in my opinion. And after that, we just want to keep it as tight as possible through this last sector. Tight, tight, tight. And then on your quali laps, just stay to the left-hand side and set your lap. If you're going for a race lap, stay to the right-hand side. And Interlagos, very difficult track. It seems fairly simple, but difficult. Maximize your exits, especially at the Senna S's. Use all of the track, all the curbing in the inside, in the middle sectors, and maximize that exit on the last corner, and you'll have a successful week.